as I've been mentioning a few times along the way, layers really are sort of the meat and potatoes of Photoshop. It doesn't really matter if you're creating websites with Photoshop or building graphics for the web or print design or even video work. Layers is going to be a big part of whatever it is you're doing inside Photoshop. We have to talk about combining images and working with multiple layers, and there's a whole bunch of different tricks and techniques that I want to show you as well to make you more productive with layers inside Photoshop as well. So before we really get tearing into this, what I want to do is I want to get two of our work files open inside Photoshop, and I want to give you a 5-cent tour of the layers panel as well. Okay, so go ahead and choose File Open or double click on your gray background, head into your Work Files folder, and the two work files that I'm after, one of them is called clouds.jpg. Go ahead and grab that guy, and then I'm just going to scroll down and I'm going to look for statue.jpg. I'm going to hold down either Command here on the Mac or Control on the Windows side and grab him and pop these two fellas open inside Photoshop. Okay, great. So we have our images now open. Now give me a moment here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off all of my panels by hitting Shift-Tab on my keyboard. And then what I'll do is I'll hit F7 on my keyboard just to bring my layers panel to life, because it's just the layers panel that I want to work with here. As a matter of fact, give me a moment. I'm just going to expand this out a little bit more permanently on screen. There we go. Now for yourself, just look for layers over on the right-hand side. You can pop him open, you can expand him open, or you can do exactly what I've done here, because all I want to have on screen here for you is layers so that we can focus on the layers panel. This image is yet another image I took with my digital camera. What's interesting to note is when we grab an image off of our digital camera, or again perhaps an image that we've sourced from another location, perhaps something online, we get it open inside Photoshop. It's interesting to note that inside the layers panel, most often what we'll see is simply a single layer called background. Okay? Now, what that means is it means that the entire image is flat. Okay, so there's nothing behind the background layer, and I can't put anything behind the background layer. Okay, think of it as a flat piece of paper. We're going to get into more detail related to the background layer and working with multiple layers, of course, and how they all function together. But before we do that, let me give you the quick 5-cent tour of the layers panel. Obviously, you can see at the top of the layers panel, there's a whole lot of bells and whistles and options and settings and drop-down menus and so on. First of all, and this is a new feature inside Photoshop CS6, we have the ability to filter our layers, which is absolutely awesome. And the reason why this is absolutely awesome is because in a lot of our work inside Photoshop, you're going to wind up with a lot of layers. It's not uncommon to have an image that's comprised of 10, 15, even 20 layers, maybe even more than that, depending on what it is that you're doing. And sometimes it can be tricky to keep track of what's what. Well, now what we can do inside Photoshop CS6 is we can say to the layers panel, hey, you know what? Show me only layers that have effects applied to them, or show me only layers that have color adjustments applied to them, or only layers that contain text, you know, things like this, right? And we can turn on and turn off these visual filters inside the layers panel. I'll show you how it works in just a little bit. It's very cool stuff. So that's the very top of the layers panel there. Beneath that, we have our blending mode drop-down menu. We'll get into this as well. Think of blending modes as color effects. And then we also have opacity. That is the transparency that we can apply to the layer, to an individual layer. Beneath that, we can lock various aspects of our layer. For example, we can lock the pixels, or we can lock the position. We can also apply a fill opacity as well. I'll explain the difference between opacity and fill percentages in just a little while. And then all the way down at the bottom of the layers panel, running right across the bottom of the layers panel, we have some additional options there for creating new layers, creating layer groups, applying adjustment layers, and so on. Also, of course, we also have the layers panel menu. Let's not forget about that as well. Okay, so there you go. There's a very quick sense of what we have inside the layers panel. Of course, I'm very excited to get into actually using the layers panel. And I want to start things off here with you with a hands-on example of how to take an object and pull it off of its background. Let's go and see how to achieve that.